Let me bring in Kentucky Congressman Democrat John Yarmuth. Congressman, good morning.
Hi, Chris.
James Baker and John Dingell have a piece in the New York Times today called Bipartisan Hunting Buddies. It talks about how a liberal from Michigan and a conservative from Texas, they both grew up hunting, they both grew up with guns, but they're united in their outrage over Newtown. Common sense should prevail. We must get away from a mindset that has owners of firearms worried that they are going to take our guns away. The Second Amendment guarantees that won't happen. I mean, it seems like everyone from Dianne Feinstein to Mark Kelly, Roxana Green, the mother of Christina Green, who was the young victim in Tucson, have said, we don't want to take your guns away. So why is the NRA so adamant there be no new laws?
Well, first of all, the NRA primarily wants to sell guns. They represent gun manufacturers as well as citizens, and of course that was not in Wayne LaPierre's statement that they represent gun manufacturers. So they like this conflict. They want to create the fear that the government is actually going to come after guns because that helps sell more guns, and it has across the country. The other thing is, I mean, they're stridently opposed to any restriction. They keep purporting this slippery slope argument, and if there really were any validity to the slippery slope argument, we would have already confiscated every gun, because we've been working on this since for many years, and the Brady bill would have been a first step. So that's a silly argument. People like Mitch McConnell are stoking it. I mean, in my state, he put out an email from his campaign that was titled, "They're coming to get your guns." I mean, that's how brazen some of them are. On the other hand...
Well, let me ask you about some of the specifics, because we were talking about Wayne LaPierre's statement, which he released yesterday, and one of the things that he said is absolutely no on universal background checks, and I'm just wondering what you feel the mood on the Hill is right now, and whether you think something like that is going to get passed.
I think there's a good chance that background checks will get passed. I think even the staunchest gun supporters are looking for something that they can support. Because even in my state, the Courier-Journal, the Louisville paper, published a statewide poll yesterday. 75% of the people in Kentucky support universal background checks. 65% want guns registered by the state, which astounded me. So everybody, every senator, every congressman and woman knows that the public is for some action, and I think the background check is the easiest thing for most people to accept, because the polls show 90% of the Americans want it.
But is the real problem when you look in individual congressional districts that maybe in a particular conservative congressional district, those numbers are flipped?
Oh, well, absolutely, and obviously there's not going to be a unanimous vote for this. It's not going to be easy, but again, I think the odds are that there are enough people who want to vote for some kind of action in response to Newtown. You know, I hope Gabby, you know, and I just can't wait to see her. She's a classmate of mine, and we were talking on the floor 2 days before she was shot. I hope she actually calls for citizens to reach out to their members as part of this effort, because one thing we've seen flipped in this current environment is the passion for some action is higher than the passion to oppose gun measures. That's a first. And politicians have always been afraid of the one-issue voter on the gun rights side, and not afraid of the passion of the gun restriction side.
Do you agree with what we were just talking about earlier? And Joanne made this point that, you know, social media has changed the game in many ways. These hearings may be a lot of political theater, but if an emotional soundbite comes out from Gabby Gifford, or you know, whatever it is that sort of rises to the level that it goes viral or makes all the headlines or all the newscasts, that it can make a difference?
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. Social media has revolutionized political communication.
Let me interrupt you for just a second, and I don't know if you have a monitor there, but there is your former colleague, Gabby Giffords, who looks, by the way, just fantastic and is such an inspiration to so many people, is coming in now with her husband, Mark Kelly. Continue, Congressman.
Right. I forgot where we were.
Well, we were talking about whether or not hearings like this can make a difference, particularly because of the influence of social media and the sound bites that come out of it.
It's absolutely, it has totally revolutionized political communication, and we saw it both in the success of the Obama campaign, we've seen it in the fundraising arena, and we've seen it in the ability of people to galvanize around a particular issue. That's what's so important about all of these things, the Twitter and Facebook. We use it extensively, and it's a huge force.
Congressman Yarmuth, it is always good to have you on the program. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Chris.